sale, more fan response, and your fan club sent me Barry Manilow pencils, which I used for quite a while after that. And you have got some loyal fans, man.
Yeah, I do.
You really do, and you deserve them. You're really good. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to see you.
Thanks.
Are we about ready, guys? Okay, all right. Interviewing you, Barry, is really a classic case of where do we begin? I mean, you just never slow down, do you?
I find myself in this world of music that just turns me on so much, and it hasn't let up yet.
What inspires you? What makes Barry run?
I just love it. I love the work. I love the world of this world of music, and I just keep finding different things to do in it. I just love it.
I think one of the greatest accomplishments of your career would have to be the new boxed set CD compilation.
Yeah.
Is this the complete Barry Manilow?
Well, it's pretty complete, Kip. I mean, these box sets are more than greatest hits albums, although they have all the hits on them. They enable the artist and the company to give the public more about the singer, about the artist, and that's what we did. I rated Arista's archives, I rated my own archives, and I try to include things on this album that were unexpected and that were interesting, more than just the songs that everybody knows. And so there are outtakes and different versions of songs, and takes in which I flub words and composing songs. I actually found a tape of my composing Copacabana, and I used a little piece of it and I blended it into the version of Copa that you know.
Was it fun for you when you raided the archives and kind of went back over memory lane?
It was fun. It was also it was overwhelming. I mean, it's a mountain of music that I've been involved with, and all I kept thinking about was all the people that had helped me. I mean, it's not a career like this. You don't do this by yourself. And I would keep looking at songs and looking at videotapes, and I would keep remembering people who were instrumental in the success of my life.
How has Barry Manilow changed? How are you different today, Barry, from the kid that first hit so big back with Mandy in '75?
I think the big change for me came about 5 years ago when I discovered the word gratitude. It's just the longer this career goes on, the more grateful I am for it, and I've never taken it for granted, but I certainly take it much more seriously than I ever have before.
Do you ever personally feel the pressure of having to top yourself when you've had the kind of success all along the way?
Yeah, and that was real dangerous. I don't feel that anymore. I try to do it because I try to do these projects without being attached to anything, especially without being attached to the result. Every time I've tried doing anything, when I'm attached to where it's going to wind up, I always regret it.
The one thing we haven't seen you do yet is country music, and with the overwhelming popularity of country today, I just wonder if we might see you do that.
Well, now it's funny you should mention that. On this on this very boxed set, I recorded a pop version of Garth Brooks's wonderful "If Tomorrow Never Comes," and I've been singing it live in concert, and the reaction to this record is really strong. He's a terrific songwriter.
Do you enjoy country music?
I enjoy it more and more these days. Yeah, I do.
As a songwriter, if you sat down to write a country song by Barry Manilow, what do you think the title might be? What would the quintessential Barry Manilow country song be?
I don't know. I don't know, Kip.
Is there some interest on your part in doing more country music, coming to Nashville perhaps, and trying an album down here?
Well, I've made friends with Katie Oslin, who just raves about the musicians down there. And frankly, all the musicians in L.A. are very, very impressed with the facilities and the musicians there. It's been in the back of my mind. I nearly did this, If Tomorrow Never Comes, with a country producer out there in Nashville, but we couldn't get our schedules together. One of these days, I very well may wind up there.
Great. Well, I think you'll be surprised if you come down here. It's really great studios and places.
Yeah.
Barry, it's been great talking to you. My time is up. But we'll be looking for you here in Nashville on Music Row.
Thanks, Kip.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Barry Manilow. I want to start by congratulating you on this, on your complete collection. It's really beautifully put together. Very tastefully done.
Isn't it beautiful? Arista really did a beautiful, beautiful job on the packaging of this one.
I also wanted to start by commenting, because you write in this, and and I'd forgotten for a moment what a journey you've had, the surprise success of the 70s, the man who became a brat, the man who went broke after selling 50 million records, and the guy who's back on top. I mean, out of all of that, you must have come away from all of this fame and success somewhat philosophically.
I wouldn't trade a day of it. I wouldn't trade a moment of it. I'm still having a great life, and all of those experiences that you mentioned, you know, were filled with profound learning, and I wouldn't trade away a day.
How did you get out of the $50 million loss and bankruptcy? What pulled you out of that?
Well, I had good advisors finally. I'll tell you what happened, Deanie. I just wasn't on top of it. This hurricane of success hit so quickly and so huge that I trusted the wrong people, and I guess I just didn't know any better. And when I wound up with very little money after selling all those records, I finally decided that I would take my life into my own hands and take more responsibility for my finances, which is what I did.
And now you are definitely back on top. Somebody made the comment, and do you agree with this? And if so, why is it true that your music seems to appeal more to women than to men?
Well, I'm not exactly sure that that's true. I think the women are more vocal and they're more visible. But if you read the letters that I read, it's pretty equal. People are people, and if I'm affecting people's emotions, then I'm affecting people's emotions, whether they're male or whether they're female. And I've never noticed that there were more females. All I notice is that they're more visible, they're more vocal because I'm a guy. But I think that what I do, if it works on a human being level.
We had a pool here. We had a mini contest here in the studio. We were trying to figure out, okay, which of the Barry Manilow songs was the most famous, the most successful, the big-o hit. We came up with one of these three. I Write the Songs, Mandy, and Copacabana. Are we close?
Yeah, Copacabana was the biggest worldwide hit.
Oh, good. That was my choice. Okay, I won the pool. Unfortunately, there was no money in it.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about this wonderful collection that you've brought out now. Why have you done this now? Due to popular demand? Or?
Well, these days, these box sets have been very popular, and my record company suggested that we do it. And I kind of like the idea because it's more than a greatest hits album. These box sets enable you to show the audiences more than the songs that they're all familiar with. On this one, I was able to go into the archives of Arista Records and my own archives and find alternate versions of the songs and outtakes and demos and not only the hits, which we include on it, of course, but it's kind of a peek into the artist's musical life. And so I was very instrumental in creating this thing, and I really wanted to share as much as I could with the audiences. And it was really a very, very emotional experience for me because, listening to Mandy 20 years later is really quite an experience.
I must tell you, one of the things I enjoyed a great deal was the people who, your co-writers, you've given them a space and they've made notes about the songs and where the inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
What a brilliant idea.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you read the book, Deanie. I could have included 200 pages because everybody wrote such profound and interesting stories, but we had to edit it down to this.
The last time I spoke with you or at you was about Showstoppers, which did so well, and I thought then that maybe this would be a new thing for you to do, to go off in this direction and more of it. Do you have another project like that in mind? Well,
it kind of inspired me to go back to my musical roots, which was half in jazz and half in Broadway. And that's why I decided to do the Thumbelina soundtrack, because it's a kind of a Broadway show soundtrack. And it's a movie that'll be coming out in March. It's an animated feature. I wrote 6 songs for it.
Last thing, it's just a comment. I've just been flipping through the pictures of you 20 years ago, and I want to tell you, you're not getting older. You're getting a lot better.
Deanie, thanks.
Barry, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a break. We're back after this.